My name's Tony, but birth name Anthony and last name Paul. After I was about 2.5, 3 years old, my mom decided she didn't want to be with my dad anymore. And so she left, and her boyfriend showed up. And he beat us a couple times, and I said, I'm not sticking around for this. So we ran away. So they put me in what's called a boys' home. I probably spent 4 weeks in the cell. And your food was always brought to you in plastics, you know. And I was fighting a lot because you're in an environment where, you know, you can't take anything from anybody. So I ended up being given over to my cousin and her husband as my guardians. So when the summer came, my foster parents, her husband actually went away to Boston, Massachusetts, because he got a job. He was an American citizen, and he had gotten a fairly decent job. So they decided they were going to make the move there, and they gave me the choice to stay or go because I was 16 now. And I said, well, there's nothing here for me, so no sense staying. I'd rather go there, you know. So I bought a round trip ticket, and I was working, doing a cash job, but I was starting to get in a lot of trouble. Deeper and deeper, you know, I was meeting more gangster, criminal type people in Boston. I spent a couple of years living like that. And then I started doing needles. Yeah, everything just kind of went downhill fast after that because it just sapped the life out of me. And nobody wanted to hang around with me anymore because I'd become a junkie, basically. And I was useless. And it was December 16th, 1989. It was a Saturday morning, and it was like 9:30 in the morning. And I heard my name. So I turned around. There was nobody there. I thought, that's kind of strange. And I started walking. I heard my name again. Tony. And I turned around. I thought, that's really strange. I know somebody's calling my name, right? Then the third time I heard my name, and I realized, wait a minute, it's coming from above. It's not coming from down here. And I said, what do you want? And the voice said to me, why don't you give your life one honest shot and try me? And I froze. And I said, I don't know who you are or what you want, but if you can help me, you're way too late. Where were you when I was a kid? Where were you when I was 8, when I was 12, when I was 15? Like, where were you? And he just kind of pointed my eyes to the Salvation Army that was just down the street. And so I walked down, and I barely put my hand on the door, and it came open. And it was like 3-4 steps there. And as I was going up the steps, I could feel these hands on my backside just kind of lifting me. And I remember looking behind me, and there was nobody there. But I could really physically feel somebody taking my weight. And I seen the top of this lady's head. She was sitting down, and she said, what do you want? And I said, do you have a rehab here? And she said, just a minute. And she called inside, and the captain, who was like the pastor, came out and talked to me in the foyer. And then he looks at me and he says, what do you think about Jesus? And as soon as he said the word Jesus, my mind flashed back to when I was 3 years old and my mom was still with us. And he showed me this pamphlet. It opens 3 ways. And he said, flip it over. And when I flipped it over, there was 2 mountains. And the mountains didn't meet. There was like a valley in between. And there's a bridge that went from one mountain to the other. And the first mountain said man. The second mountain said God. And the bridge was in the shape of a cross. and it had Jesus written on it. And when I saw that, I was like, oh. So in order to go from me to God, I got to go through Jesus. It was like a concept that I had never heard of before. But I believe that people should come to church as they are. The Holy Spirit will change them. You know, whether we're all sinners. So how can you point your finger at somebody who doesn't go to church and say they're a worse sinner than me? We're all sinners, and we all fall short of God's glory. But I'm going to keep doing this for as long as I can, because that's what God called me to do. And my wife is committed to do it by my side. And that's what we're going to do until it's time to check out of here.